I love serving salmon when company's coming for dinner because it's elegant and everybody likes it. And I especially love serving salmon steaks because they're cool. And also they have 2 flesh sides, so you get a lot of good browning. But the problem with salmon steaks is this bone in the middle and all the pin bones that radiate out from it. We're gonna solve that today by getting rid of those bones before we start cooking. But first, we're gonna brine the fish. I know brining fish is a little unusual, but it does 2 things. First, it changes the protein structure so that the protein strands actually hang on to moisture. That means more moist fish. The second thing it does is it prevents that ugly albumin from leaching out during cooking, so these salmon will be a looker. First up, we have some water. This is 2 quarts of water. To this, we're gonna add 1/4 cup of table salt. Again, if you're using kosher salt, be sure to double that amount because table salt and kosher salt do not measure the same because their crystal sizes are different. All right, be sure to whisk the salt in to make sure it's dissolved. All right, now here are the salmon. They're beautiful. Each of these are between 8 and 10 ounces each, 3/4 of an inch thick, and you can see they're all about the same size so that they'll cook at the same rate. Now, this brine is a quick brine. There's no need to find room for this in the fridge. You can just let this sit on the counter and it's just gonna take about 15 minutes. While that salmon is sitting in the brine, I'm gonna whip up a quick sauce. I'm gonna make a tarragon chimichurri. A chimichurri is simply a fresh herb sauce pulled together with a little either vinegar or lemon juice and some olive oil. So today I'm gonna use a base of parsley, and I'm gonna need about 1/2 cup of parsley. And of course I washed this already. But I'm gonna show you a quick trick. You can gather all the parsley up and then you take your knife and you shave. And the knife just grabs the leaves. You get some stems in there, not too bad. And you just shave the parsley off and then you're halfway there. Just pull out some of the bigger stems, and the parsley stems taste a bit bitter, so you don't want to include them. There you go. Nice, easy way to prep parsley. So I'm gonna gather these together, gonna give it a rough chop. All right, so that's the parsley. Moving on, we're gonna add some tarragon. Just gonna need about 2 tablespoons. Into the bowl this goes. All right, now we're gonna add some olive oil. You want about a 1/4 cup of olive oil. All right, we're gonna add a little white wine vinegar. But again, if you wanted to vary this, champagne vinegar is nice. Also, lemon juice is nice. Just a little bit of crushed red pepper flakes. You know, 1/8 or 1/4 of a teaspoon. I like to have it a little spicy. And salt and pepper. Moving on, we're gonna add the garlic. Now, having that bright raw flavor of garlic is just lovely in a chimichurri. Let's give this a little taste and see if it needs any more salt or pepper. It's gonna be killer with the salmon. It's good to go. All right, so now I'm gonna take it out of this mixing bowl, just put it in a nicer looking bowl because this is for company. So the fish is out of the brine, and now we're gonna pat it dry with towels. Make sure all that excess moisture is off the salmon because that'll prevent browning in the skillet. Time to work on those pesky bones. So you see there's this big bone in the center and this line of cartilage going up to the top. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start at the top on one side of that line of cartilage. Using a paring knife, you could also use a boning knife, but a small knife works best because it's just a bit more agile. You're gonna go around that bone. You might feel some pin bones. You can just kind of jump over those. And then you're gonna go down the inside of the skin on the inside of this salmon steak. You're just gonna gently free it. So that's one side. Now we'll do the same on the other side. Just take a pair of kitchen shears or poultry shears and you can just snip out that center piece, and there you have it. So now the big bones are out. Time to go in and look for any little pin bones that have been left behind. Sometimes you get a lot, sometimes you get none. It really depends on the piece of salmon. It feels pretty good. I feel one there and one on this side. And this is a pair of fish tweezers. They're pretty inexpensive and easy to find, worth having in your drawer. If you don't have them, a good pair of needle nose pliers will work well. And if you find the bone, just grab it and pull it out. All right, I don't feel any more pin bones in there. Well, that's good. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna tie this up so it's a nice, even piece of salmon that'll cook at the same rate, and we're gonna make it look pretty. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut away the skin on one of these lengths on the side, about 1.5 inches or so. You don't need to trim too much of it away. All right. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna tuck this piece into the center of the salmon. I'm gonna wrap this other tail right around So the skin will mostly line up, and then you have a nice even piece of salmon to cook. So we're just gonna secure this with some kitchen twine. And for that first knot, I like to do a double knot because that'll help that twine stay in place. And then it holds so you can get a nice tight second knot. And there you go. 1 down, 3 to go. All right, so now it's time to get cooking. And I have the salmon all laid out here, and we're just gonna season it with some salt and pepper. Let's get the second side here. Now, one last trick before we start cooking is that we're gonna dust the salmon in cornstarch. That's gonna make a nice crust, and it'll prevent things from scorching in the pan. So what I have here is some cornstarch. It's just in a pie plate. You could use any sort of plate. We're gonna hit both sides of the salmon, and then you wanna brush off any extra with a pastry brush. Handle these gently when they're raw. They'll firm up as they cook, but right now, you want them to keep that nice shape. All right, just a thin layer. So these are ready for the skillet. Over here, I have a 12-inch nonstick skillet, and I have 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil in there. I'm heating this up over medium-high heat. We're gonna get it really hot just until it starts to shimmer. So now I'm gonna gently lay the salmon in the pan. And then, as always, when you lay something in a hot pan, put the front side down and then lay the rest away. That way, if any waves of hot oil happen, they happen to the back of the pan, not towards you. Now the salmon will cook pretty quickly, about 3 minutes on each side, but the magic temperature we're going for is 125. And yes, I'm going to use an InstaRead thermometer. That way you can tell each piece of salmon is perfectly done. And again, if some are different sizes, they might come out of the pan sooner than others. That way everyone has a perfect piece of fish. So it's been about 3 minutes on that first side, and they look beautiful. About 3 more minutes on that second side. So it's been about 3 minutes on the second side. Again, we're looking for about 125 right in the center. Well, that one's perfect. All right, so this one's coming out. You can see there's just a little bit of that white albumin came out on the side. Very often when you cook salmon, you get a lot of that. You can see there's just a little bit this time, thanks to the brining. All right, I'm gonna give it a quick pat on the paper towels just to drain off any grease so it doesn't get on the platter. That's one. And yeah, I'm gonna temp each one because I want everyone to have a perfect piece of salmon. I'm gonna take a little bit of this chimichurri. I'm just gonna put a little right in the center of each piece of salmon. Use a pair of kitchen scissors. You just peel off the twine. So there we have it. Time to give this salmon a taste. A little extra chimichurri, because I can. And a little squeeze of lemon. Oh, beautifully cooked all the way through, nice and even. And still juicy. It's good. That's how I like to cook salmon. So if you want to make the perfect pan-seared salmon steak, start by brining the fish for just 15 minutes, then cut out the bones and tie the pieces of salmon up for even cooking. And last but not least, cook the salmon till it registers just 125 degrees. From America's Test Kitchen at Home, the perfect recipe for pan-seared salmon steaks with a tarragon chimichurri. Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.